Imagine a world where a paper cut could be a death sentence, where a scratch from a thorn bush while crawling through the mud could lead to an agonizing death from septicemia. This was the grim reality for soldiers at the beginning of the Second World War. In 1942, a simple infection could kill a soldier. By 1945, we had a miracle drug. World War II was the most destructive event in human history. It was a conflict that consumed the globe, drawing in nations from every continent and costing tens of millions of lives. Cities were turned to ash, empires crumbled, and an entire generation was scarred by unprecedented violence. Yet, amidst this crucible of destruction, a strange and powerful alchemy was at work. The sheer desperation to survive, to gain an edge, to protect one's own, ignited a fire of innovation, unlike any seen before or since. But from its fire, we forged the very pillars of our modern world. This is the story of how a war for survival accidentally built the future. We will journey back to the front lines, the secret laboratories, and the bustling factories of the 1940s to uncover the hidden origins of the technologies that define our lives today. This is a narrative of unintended consequences, of military necessities becoming civilian conveniences. It's a story that connects the dots between a desperate fight for victory and the peaceful, interconnected world we often take for granted. This isn't about guns and tanks. This is about the 5 WWII innovations that leapt from the battlefield and into your home, your hospital, and your pocket. These are the inventions that built our world. Prepare to see the 20th century's greatest conflict not just as a chapter in a history book, but as the blueprint for the 21st century. Our first stop is the microscopic battlefield, the fight against an invisible enemy that was killing more soldiers than bullets: infection. The key to victory was a peculiar mold, a scientific accident that had been gathering dust for over a decade. Innovation 1, the mass-produced miracle. Penicillin was discovered in 1928, but it was a laboratory curiosity. The war created an existential need. Alexander Fleming's chance discovery was brilliant, but producing enough of the substance to treat even one person was a monumental challenge. For years, it remained a scientific oddity, its true potential locked away by the sheer difficulty of its cultivation. With casualty lists growing, the Allied governments knew they needed a game changer. The call went out: find a way to make penicillin and make it by the ton. It was a task that required a national mobilization of scientific and industrial might. The US government literally treated it like a weapons program, pouring millions into mass production. They turned a fragile mold into a life-saving commodity. This effort laid the groundwork for the entire modern pharmaceutical industry. Scientists scoured the globe for more potent strains of the mold, famously finding the most effective one on a moldy cantaloupe in a market in Illinois. Engineers developed a new deep tank fermentation process, turning what was once a delicate laboratory procedure into a robust industrial powerhouse. The results were nothing short of miraculous. By D-Day in 1944, enough penicillin was being produced to treat every single Allied soldier. The death rate from bacterial pneumonia plummeted from 18% to less than 1%. Before WWII, a small wound could be a death sentence. After we had a cure, it was the dawn of the antibiotic age. Every time you take an antibiotic for strep throat, every time a surgeon performs a life-saving operation without fear of rampant infection, you are benefiting from a crash program born from the desperation of war. Next, we turn our eyes to the skies. In 1940, Britain stood alone, facing the full might of the German Luftwaffe. The threat wasn't just on the battlefield, it was over the heads of civilians in cities like London. How could a small island nation defend itself against a numerically superior air force? Innovation 2, the unseen shield. Radar won the Battle of Britain. It allowed a handful of pilots to know exactly where the enemy was, day or night. Before radar, defense was a guessing game. Observer Corps on the ground would try to spot and hear incoming planes, a method that was unreliable at best and useless at night or in bad weather. The chain home system changed everything. This network of coastal radar stations could see enemy bombers forming over France, giving the Royal Air Force precious minutes to scramble their fighters and intercept them. It turned a reactive defense into a proactive, coordinated shield. It was the world's first integrated air defense system. But the real legacy is in the sky above you right now. The global air traffic control system is a direct descendant of those wartime radar networks. Every time you board a flight, you are trusting a technology that was perfected to win a war. The same fundamental principle, bouncing radio waves off objects to determine their location and speed, is what allows thousands of aircraft to crisscross the globe safely every single day. It's also the technology behind the weather reports that warn you of coming storms, and even the microwave oven in your kitchen. The war wasn't just fought with bullets and bombs, it was a war of information. The German military communicated using the Enigma machine, a cipher device so complex they believed its codes were unbreakable. Breaking it was one of the greatest intellectual challenges of the war. Innovation 3, the code-breaking brain. To break the German Enigma code, the Allies built Colossus, the world's first programmable, electronic, digital computer. It wasn't a general-purpose PC, but it proved the concept. Tucked away in the secret British facility of Bletchley Park, a team of brilliant minds, including Alan Turing, worked tirelessly. They first developed electromechanical machines called bombs to test Enigma settings. But as the Germans made their codes more complex, a faster solution was needed. Colossus was the answer. A behemoth of vacuum tubes and wiring, it could read and process information at a speed that was previously unimaginable, drastically shortening the time it took to decipher German messages. Historians believe this intelligence shortened the war by at least 2 years. The engineers and scientists who built these machines took that knowledge and ran with it after the war, directly leading to the commercial computer revolution. The device you're watching this on right now has a direct family line back to a hut in England, where they were trying to decode Nazi messages. The principles of electronic processing, programmability, and digital logic, all pioneered to gain a military edge, became the foundation of the information age. From the mainframe to the microchip, the lineage is clear. For centuries, flight was defined by the propeller, a technology that was reaching its physical limits. The next great leap in aviation would require a completely new way of thinking about propulsion, a technology that would compress air, mix it with fuel, and create a controlled explosion. Innovation 4, shrinking the world. While both sides had propeller planes, the Germans fielded the first jet engine fighter. It was a terrifying leap in speed. When the Messerschmitt Me 262 appeared in the skies over Europe in 1944, it was a shock to Allied pilots. It could fly over 100 miles per hour faster than their best fighters. It had no propeller, just a haunting whistle as it streaked past. Though it arrived too late to change the outcome of the war, the jet engine's potential was undeniable. It represented the future of flight, a future of incredible speed and altitude. After the war, the Allies scooped up the engineers and the technology. The jet engine, designed for dogfights, was repurposed to power the passenger airlines that now connect our global civilization. That 8-hour flight across the ocean? You can thank or blame the pressure of aerial warfare. The race for aerial supremacy in the 1940s directly led to the age of mass air travel in the 50s and 60s. It shrunk the globe, making international business, tourism, and cultural exchange a reality for millions. An army, as the saying goes, marches on its stomach. But in World War II, it also marched on fuel, ammunition, and countless other supplies. Getting the right things to the right place at the right time, across thousands of miles of hostile territory, was a problem of unimaginable scale. Innovation 5. The global supply chain. WWII was the greatest logistics problem in history. How do you supply millions of men across oceans? Before the war, loading a ship was a chaotic, time-consuming process. Loose cargo of all shapes and sizes was loaded piece by piece. The military couldn't afford this inefficiency. They needed speed, standardization, and predictability, They developed systems like the Red Ball Express, a massive non-stop truck convoy that supplied Allied forces racing through France. They experimented with standardized pallets and containers to make loading and unloading faster. They even built Pluto, the pipeline under the ocean, to pump fuel directly from Britain to Normandy after D-Day. The solutions they pioneered, from standardized containers to undersea fuel pipelines, were the prototypes for the globalized economy. The system that delivers your smartphone from a factory in China to your doorstep was literally war-gamed on the beaches of Normandy. The concept of intermodal transportation, moving goods in the same container from ship to rail to truck, was perfected by military logisticians. This revolution in logistics made global trade cheaper, faster, and more reliable than ever before, creating the interconnected consumer world we live in. Penicillin, radar, the computer, the jet engine, global logistics. 5 distinct innovations, all born from the same crucible of conflict. Each one developed to destroy, to defend, to conquer. So the legacy of WWII isn't just in history books. It's in the medicine that keeps us healthy, the planes that connect us, the computers that power our lives, and the goods that fill our homes. These weren't just survival tools. They were the seeds of our modern world, planted in the most unlikely of soils. It's the ultimate paradox. From a war of unimaginable destruction came the building blocks of the peace and prosperity we enjoy today.